Hi, Cancer. How are you? All right, happiest now. Happy trying season. There's a few messages I'd like to share. I feel like you're gonna get your mojo back or your groove, like get your groove back, right? I also see in relation to that, please always remember that even when you're excited about something, to always like initiate some sort of prayer or place of patience before participating. It will ensure that the energy of what you are desiring and wanting to feel in yourself and that which what you're connecting to be the best vibration. There's something about that. Now, I did choose an oracle for you from the Southern Gothic Oracle, which is actually a really amazing deck. You received the Crystal Grotto. Grotto, right? In Italian, wherever there's a double consonant is where there's a syllable. This is about energy and, of course, the stars. There's a lot that's said here, but 2 points that really sat with me well for you was you're in a place of readiness, okay? And there's this particular sentence. I ask that this space connect me to my highest truth. I also heard when I was at the end of your prayer was about how the Father is always with you. You don't need to worry about that. Like the protection that you need or the love or support that you need, the strength that you need, you that's available to you, Cancer. So, let's open your cards. Magician, first card out. We'll take that. This is creative heart energy, right? Oh, I forgot to mention one last little thing before we begin. I love you, Cancer. I did this spread that I came up with, I don't know, years ago. And there's always a past position, like where you've been, where you came from. And I laid it down in the beginning, but as I went along, when we got into the section of what you are learning about now, I was like, oh, the only way to make this whole is to not necessarily focus on what has been. It's about what is, right? Magician, right here, right now. And this connects a lot into your conscious space. Let's see what's going on with that. Oh, the World and the Page of Cups. Beautiful. You look... Well, I heard you look good in red, Cancer. Did you know that? Do you wear the color red much? You look good in red. I also heard you got good legs. And I saw someone sort of petting, like a little bit of like petting themselves. Like it was like an appreciation, right? Like when you pet a cat and you're like, oh, you're so soft. Or like you're so magical. Like you can do that to yourself too. Maybe that would be helpful for you. You know, when Cancer energy feels good, do you know the whole world shines? No one's afraid of the dark when Cancerian energy, wherever you have it in your map, is in a good space. Because then you are the full moon, right? You are bright. You are a guiding light. You show what's hidden, and that's important so that we figure out what the truth is, right? And what you are asking is that this space and time connects you to your highest truth, right? To the highest truth. Good, Cancer. Sort of a creative, there's a really strong creative space here. Just a second. Well, I heard head in the clouds, but I'm actually seeing this, although that saying usually has like a slightly negative connotation, right? Oh, someone's got their head in the clouds. But in relation to you, there's something here about what's important is like a high-minded consciousness, right? But it's not about proving like who it is that you are or what it is that you know. It's just you know that there's so much that you don't know in relation to something that is so vast and magical and beautiful that you don't need to, like, for instance, like prove anything. Do you know what I mean? Or like, it's almost like the invisible is sort of the muse of life. Something like that. Do you want to look at your challenge or your subconscious space? Let's look at subconscious first. Ace of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. Again, when you are in a good space, the whole world shines. Did you know that? Your challenge right now is almost, because I feel like, again, like you got your groove. It's something, I keep seeing a needle going back into its groove. It's like you're getting your groove back. Maybe your energy's been low, but now you're trying, you're like figuring out which way to go. But you're also allowing something to be sort of what it is. And that's important. But even the simplicity of that has equal importance because you are making a difference. Again, when you, Ace of Cups, you are having a loving conversation with you in this life, right? Or with this life. Well, I actually see that kind of, astrologically speaking, I actually see that might make the biggest change that can be. And this is very helpful for your Pluto opposition right now for society. Thank you. Even if it's just, for instance, say this month is like really positive and really beautiful for you. Good. Because sometimes it's not, right? We go through hard things. But if you're feeling that, please know that this ripples out a lot farther than you think that it does. And the more you practice whatever's going on here, let's see what your next step is. Ooh, the 3 of Wands. That card has come a lot this month. I like that. To me, this is about, inspiration or the ability to be able to see things from different perspectives, right? And also having a great patience in the process, right? Not being needy or clingy, like being able to let go of things, being able to let things be and in the same breath be yourself, right? It's like with certain things, you let the dominoes, for instance, fall where they may. Things fall where they may. But you're also conscious of your own actions, which is important. I want to see what you're afraid of. Oh, the High Priestess. Interesting. Well, you don't like anyone telling you a secret, right? Or is that true? Is that hard for you? Or how does that affect you when people tell you their secrets? Like, what do you do with other people's secrets when they tell you? Does it affect you? Or do you do like a High Priestess where you... Well, I heard you're no different than a blade of grass. So don't hold anything that is not yours. And please remember that you are a great filter for how do I explain this? Learning more, it goes back into the reading from your birthday, from July. Sometimes we ask a question, we receive an answer. Sometimes that answer gives us gives a person more questions, right? There could be all kinds of, for instance, like synchronicities, and sometimes, for instance, those can be scary. Right? People say the word intuition as a very light-hearted thing, but it can be scary when you don't know what's going on. Right? It's like a child that has magic that's really strong. But you don't know what it is, right? Or how to use it. So, if there are certain things that you know, or whatever maybe you want to realize kind of where and how your magic comes in to your life. And if you can't explain it, don't worry about it too much right now. It'll make sense later. Do you know what I mean? Because it goes back into, you don't want to make that, because when we don't know something, there's a confusion. It makes the energy frictional, right? It's sharp. It's going to like bounce into these corners and start making weird shapes. And what you're doing right now is wanting to be like really centered. You see? It's like being a totem. You want to be a totem, right? A totem is not a black walnut branch. A totem is... I actually don't know what wood they make... What wood do they make totems out of? I mean, I guess it depends where you are. It's got to be a hardwood though, right? Let's see what you've been learning about. Ace of Pentacles, awesome. We've been learning about your own stability. Good. Now remember, one step at a time. Things become bigger or more obvious when well, you're paying attention. Right? Even emotions are a seed. And I see you can grow whatever you need. No need to worry, you know when to heed. Let's see what you have been learning about. The Seven of Inspiration. Well, apparently you've been learning a lot about your own shadow and opening up some light and space into that, having to do with your own structure of your own, like in relation to your power, right? But it's not, again, like about, like exactly, like it's not about you. Like this is like it's like without the ego. That's important. There's like understanding that the power that you have doesn't necessarily, it comes through you, but it's not necessarily yours. It's like they say, like Khalil Gibran says, like your children are not your own. Right? You can love them, but you cannot give them your thoughts. Like it's so I guess whenever, for instance, you have an interesting dream, or you understand like more about what a dream was or is now, or maybe even like those things where you're like, oh, I knew it. I also see the appreciation of where you took what you might have thought was a wrong turn and you felt a little lost and you kept going anyway. And because you did, you ended up exactly where you are. That's part of I heard that's part of the fun, or that's part of the journey. You know what I mean? This is a part of what you're learning. And again, I see like this person's bowing their head. And what's interesting is in your conscious position, both these people, like their heads are covered. There's something about it where like whether you want to look at it as higher consciousness or God or what have you, it's as if I guess what this represents is there's an element here of great trust and ability in yourself to connect to something that is, well, I guess beyond you, could even be becoming like a new part of you, right? Expanding in some sense. And I'm really proud of you. This is a very good reading, Cancer. Let's see. I always choose a card to what helps with fear. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Just a second. I guess when you're trying to figure out, for instance, intuitive things or like what something means or what have you, especially if it's not, well, I heard maybe something that you think that other people would understand, please sit quietly with that for a minute, silently, and listen. This doesn't necessarily mean that this space will exactly bring all of you to an understanding of whatever it is you just tapped into or saw or felt or what have you. But what it can do is shift any kind of, what does that mean? Right? Like a question is like a worry, right? When we have a question about something, when we're questioning something, it's a concern, right? But when you stop and you pause and listen, I guess in the end game, if you end up with a smile on your face, maybe that was the point. It doesn't necessarily equate the answer that was ultimately desired, right? Because it's a house of mirrors, life, the human, magic, whatever you want to call it. Oh, this is this is a beautiful reading. Part of your challenge could be where you want something to be a little bit perfect or like a little bit regimented, right? The opposite of you is Capricorn. You may want that sometimes, where you want it to be like really in a line, like have structure, have definition, and it can be that. Like I heard you can do that for yourself. And sometimes with work, with family, etc., this can totally do this too. But not 100% of the time. Maybe it's like 70-30 for some parts of this, right? That's okay. I mean, we're just talking about this month, I suppose. Is that what we're doing? So remember that it's okay to make space, or when, maybe that's how you can also tell when you're meant to be still, is when something's like a little bit off, or something sort of, I heard, grabs your attention. Just try to sit quietly with that. Because remember, you are, I mean, you have 2 aces here. And with the Ace of Cups in the foundation, this is so beautiful. Could even be where you're really sort of shifting even, I don't know, like what love is to you. Holding your head a little higher, perhaps. I see you have some really good friends. Yeah, you do. You have some family, I heard, that loves you too. Who does inspire you right now? And how are you inspiring yourself? Is another question. I also feel like in ways of work or like more physicality, in addition and specifically speaking, I also feel like, well, I heard you're a boss. You know what I mean? Like you sort of sparkle, especially in what you create, like with your work, again, what you work on, you sparkle a lot there, you know, kind of like an Aries does, but in a softer way. So please never, I see, doubt your ability. Either, please. Right, your ability to be confident in who you are. You know, usually the Tower is a very like intense and usually has a sort of heavy feeling around it. But when I'm looking at this card right now, this is like how strong you are, how confident you are. It's like you're shooting light bulbs. You're shooting lightning bolts like out of your body, but it's coming out of their back. You know what I mean? Which is sort of like the wind to your back, but it's like the lightning to your back. Like that's, but the thing is it's coming from you. It's not like it's pushing you. It's just something that you're now connecting again to this higher space. Which brings you back in more to your own self too. Which gives you so much enthusiasm for the future. You know what I mean? And a lot of confidence, too. I mean, I don't feel like... Well, we'll leave it like that. Yeah. Wow. Great reading, Cancer. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. It's always a pleasure connecting with you. All right, well, I hope this reading was of service. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, it's one of my favorite animals. You also received the opossum on the bottom of the deck. They're mostly vegetarian and nocturnal. Maybe a little research on them, or maybe if you see them, I don't know, what connection do you have with the opossum? It's a marsupial, right? Would it be considered a marsupial? Is that only a kangaroo? Or are marsupials the ones with pouches? Maybe I am saying that correctly. Oh, Saturn. I love you so much. Please take care of yourself. I'm really proud of you. This reading was very good. I'll talk to you next time. Peace out.